In olden days, a glimpse of stockings was looked on as something shocking. Now, heaven knows, anything goes. Good uncles too.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of Anything Goes. You got your boy Crispy.
I'm Cool Ass Trav. Y'all know what it is.
And we got our boy Moody Films behind the camera. Today we got our big brother with us, our comrade, Hassan, a.k.a. P.H. Mayfield. What's going on, big brother?
What's good? What's good? Everything good, big fella? How y'all doing, man?
We're doing good, man. Doing good.
Great.
So let me just give the people a rundown and correct me when I'm wrong, all right?
All right.
Of what it is that you do. We got a public figure with us, right? First and foremost, he's the founder and CEO of Harlem Fun, right?
Correct.
Families united, never divided, right?
Correct.
And you do a lot of community work, right? By providing support groups, conflict resolution, peer mediation, free food bank givebacks, health and wellness coaching, health fitness, neighborhood safety, life coach, a motivational speaker, and community activist.
Right.
That's a lot for
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, but that's only on the social justice side.
Okay.
I mean, we ain't even get to the other side.
Talk to us about it. What else you got going on, man?
Well, like you said, I'm the founder, executive director of the Harlem Fund, and that's the nonprofit that I put together when I got out of prison, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But prior to that, you know, the life coaching and all that, the personal training, we do that under H&L Fitness Club, which is another one of my companies.
Nice. Okay.
And we got all of the promotional, the events that we do, you know what I'm saying, throughout the city. We got like puffin paints, we do parties, you know, I do a lot of event promoting.
Okay.
Right? That's one way that we get our brands out, we get our narratives out, you know, with the commonplace people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we bring them in the fold on what we're doing on the social justice level.
Okay.
So we got the personal training, we got the promoting the events. We also deal with a lot of merchandising. So like what I got on right now, this is one of my brands. So we do graphics on the apparel.
What's the name of your brand?
This is called Alpha Nova, right? And that falls under the H&L Good Life brand, which is a lifestyle company.
Okay.
So that's just hitting certain aspects of our day-to-day life. Like I said, the promoting the events, you know, exercise, health and fitness, wellness is, you know, it encompasses all of that.
Nice.
So,
Well, before we really get into it, I want to touch on the pandemic real quick, because you said you got a lot of stuff going on. As an entrepreneur, how did the pandemic affect you and all your businesses? Because it sounds like you deal with a lot of people, and I know when they shut down, people was in a frenzy. So how did that affect you with all your businesses, training, you know, just being out there, activists, you know, clothing-wise, everything?
well, in one aspect, it hampered it, but in another aspect, it made me ramp up even more. Like dealing with the social justice component, the Harlem Fund. When the pandemic hit, like we was already doing food outreach.
Right, I saw a lot of that. Yeah.
But when the pandemic hit, the school system got shut down.
Right.
And what people like wasn't really mindful of is that within our communities in the low socioeconomic sectors of our communities, the people who go to public schools, the children, they eat lunch and breakfast, which is essential for them to get it from schools.
Right.
And so when they're not going to school, they're not eating those 2 meals at least.
Right. Okay.
And so once that happened, you know, it was like a scramble on how we going to deal with the fact that we got to put more food in the house now to feed our kids. At the same time, we're not working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it was a real big snowball effect when it came to food shortage, right? And food scarcity inside our communities. And so recognizing that, I work with some of the school districts inside Harlem and the Bronx, and we was able to work with them to acquire food and be able to present the food to the peoples. You know what I mean? In particular, young peoples of school age.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that increased like tenfold my workload. You know what I mean? I went from daily giving out maybe 200 to 300 parcels of food to like 700 a day. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, though. We gotta applaud you for that. Because
let's give him a round of applause for that.
Thanks, bro. Especially, being black in the neighborhood, a lot of times you don't see people giving back. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying giving back just like giving money here and there. You really giving back. So we gotta applaud you for that. So that's what's up.
So
Thank you,
I wanna step back a little bit, right? Because I want the people to know, more about you. You know what I'm saying? Where you come from, how did this come about, so on and so forth, right? So tell us a little bit of background history about you. Where you from?
Well, you want to go back?
Yeah, back. Yeah,
All
let's
right,
go
so,
back.
Yeah, we could take it back because, this is my element.
Right.
Which is giving it up, the real.
Right.
You know what I mean? What's the name of the show? Anything Goes?
Anything goes, man. This is
So
anything
it don't
goes.
matter. Whatever you want to ask me, anything go, bro.
Okay,
You know what I'm
let's
saying?
go.
I deal with transparency.
Right.
You know what I mean? So basically my background is I'm born Harlem night,
Right.
You already know what it is, you know what I'm saying? We call it Harlem night. Officially, it's called Harlemites, but
Right.
we bounce and flip that. So we consider ourselves Harlem Nights.
Right.
And so born in the hood, I got a background that's Caribbean.
Okay.
My people
See,
from
I know that.
Antigua, my pop, they Antiguan and all that.
Okay.
And so it was like during the 70s, we were still on the end of community being a village. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up still embracing that and feeling that love from the entire hood. You know what I'm saying? That village concept mentality was still there. Exactly. And so I grew up with that, and the older people, my mother in particular, but the people inside the hood, they always made you accountable. You know what I'm saying? You always had to be accountable for your actions, whether you was in the good, whether you was in the bad, you was always held accountable. So that's something that we got as young people growing up.
That was instilled in you growing up. Okay.
Right. And so as time came along, began to move on, I was from a poverty-stricken background. You know what I mean? I came from a household where my mother and my father wasn't together. She had 4 children until my little sister came along, and she was doing whatever she could to make sure ends was meeting. You know what I mean? So I come from the background of welfare lines, you know what I'm saying? Those blocks of cheese, you know what I mean? My mom's putting in work, whether it was bartending, whatever it is she had to do, she hustled to get some bread to make sure her kids was all right. But me seeing that, my thing was being real precocious as a kid, it was like, I don't like the way that look. I got to do what I can to add on.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
And so from a young age, my mom tell a story all the time how 5 years old, I was like, Mom, let me cross the street. You know what I mean? I could go to the store. I was always one of them independent young dudes, you know what I'm saying? So the leadership qualities was there as a young person. And by her seeing that, okay, he, out of all my kids, he seemed to be the one, he good.
You the oldest?
Nah, I'm the second oldest.
Okay, all right.
Tell me what block you from.
I'm from 130th and Madison. Okay. But really, that whole area from whether it's 128th, 129th, 130th, 131st, like that's where I grew up. So it was either I was living in 129th at one time, 128th at one time, 130th, you know what I'm saying, 131st. So up until, my teenage years, basically that's where I was from.
East side of Harlem.
Right, the east side of Harlem.
Okay.
You know, Madison Avenue. Yeah, from Lexington to Lenox.
Okay.
I mean, from 28th to 32nd.
That's how you feel about Harlem now. Like, I know Harlem, if you born in Harlem, you love Harlem. That's like Brooklyn dudes. But how you feel walking Harlem now and seeing the restructure and the gentrification? Especially.
Wait, before we even get into that, let him finish.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
All right, so as a teenager, right?
Yeah. So growing up, that's what it was for me. And I sought out ways to get money.
Okay.
And in our hood, during that time, it was all about hustling, whether it was selling drugs, whether it was doing fast cons, whether it was scamming. You know what I mean? We talking about the early 80s. You know what I mean? And in my area.
That was the crack epidemic, right?
Nah, that was prior to the crack epidemic. We talking about the early 80s.
Early 80s.
We talking about when people was just still sniffing cocaine, right?
Okay.
But on the streets, it was dust, angel dust.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? And my older cousin, rest in peace to Chip Banks, my older cousin, he used to sell dust. It was a big package called Red Devil that everybody had around my way. And I was one of the shorties that they used to be like, yo, all right, we can't let you sell drugs. You too young for all that. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to hear nothing.
Right.
I was going to do it anyway.
How old were you then?
We talking about 11.
11, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
So I was like, I need to make some money.
Right.
And my cousin used to always like give me money. All the older dudes used to give me money, but I was independent. I wanted to get my own money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I started like all the other kids in the hood growing up, especially in Harlem. We ran to the store for the older dudes. They gave us the change. You know what I'm saying? We did errands and they gave us money because they try to keep us from getting into the street life, the drug lifestyle. But I just wasn't trying to hear that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was one of the real knucklehead ones that was like headstrong.
Was it the lifestyle or was it just, I want to get the money to help out?
No, it wasn't the lifestyle. See, the thing that what people don't understand now because of hip hop got everything so mixed up, it's juxtaposed that it's ridiculous. But the lifestyle was simply our way of life, period. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like something different. How people look at rappers and be like, yo, I want to live like them. That's how it was. It just was like that. Right. You know what I mean? If you didn't have money, you still was trying to get fresh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was just, that's how it was, especially in Harlem.
Harlem, right, that's
you know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really a lifestyle because I was one of them guys who actually didn't find any like excitement in getting fresh.
Okay.
I was the total opposite. And we'll get to that. But it was more about I want to get my own money and I wanted my own power. I wanted my own independence. I wanted to be able to say, I'm doing this and nobody could say nothing about it. I can do that. I can make that happen because I saw that there was a need for assistance. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, from being a preteen to, slightly indulging into the drug life, by the time I got to my teens, that's when crack started hitting. You know what I'm saying? So we still talking about 13 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The crack epidemic hit. And when it hit, I was right there as a young kid. So as it unfolded, I was growing into it.
Right. Okay.
You know, and I was all the way in, not knee deep. I was neck deep. My head was in it. You know what I mean? And my mother, who's a strong woman, she had, like I said, she had 4 kids. It was hard to keep a hold of me.
Right.
You know what I mean? If she was sitting here, she'd tell a story about nobody could control that kid, yo. He was out of control.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was just one of those guys. Like I said, I was real precocious. I was real charismatic. You know, the whole neighborhood loved me because I'm holding down all my buddies.
Right.
And then while I'm beating somebody up, maybe I'll see an older folk and turn around and be like, how you doing, Miss Jones?
Right,
you want me to
right.
help you? You know what I mean? So I was able, you know what I mean? It was like that for me.
Right,
You know what I mean? And so...
Hold on, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Right.
Sit your ass down.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, word up. You know what I mean? So it was like that for me. And
Yeah.
so growing up, I had respect from all sectors of the community.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I was instilled with that. I don't care what you do, you're going to respect your elders.
This started early.
That was from the beginning, from the
Right.
baby. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or you got your ass whipped.
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't talk back or you got popped in the mouth.
Right.
Off the rip. It wasn't no, I'm going to tell you again. And it wasn't
Yeah,
none of that.
none of that.
You know what I mean? And so that's how it was for me. So growing up, I got into the drug life at a young age. And like I said, being how I was, it was like, we doing this because we need to make sure we good. And when I say we, I was talking about my street buddies.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'll get my money. My mother, I'll give her money. You know what I mean? But I developed a bond with my guys because they started to depend on me because I was always the maverick. I was always the one that was going out.
Right.
I was one of the guys, it wasn't too many of us, but I was one of the guys from Harlem that can go to any block in Harlem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was one of the guys that I'll get on my pedal bike and you'll catch me on 140th Street, which is one of the wolf blocks in Harlem. You know what I mean? And guys will see me there, and they see me there so often, they thought I was from 40th. Or they'll see me in Jefferson and thought I was from Jefferson.
Okay.
St. Nick, you know what I mean? All the way up by a rooftop, you know what I'm saying? We all the way up in the pole. Like, that's the type of person I was. You know, I was really popular, and people had respect for me, but they had love for me. They felt me.
Right.
And so, for me, my buddies, all my guys that was with me, it was like, okay, what we doing next?
Right.
Where we going next? And so, I took that real seriously.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, in my mind, it was like, this is my fam, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we good. You know what I'm saying? And what that meant holding ourselves down.
Okay.
Don't get it twisted. Back then, you wasn't able to come out on your own. So it didn't, like how it is now. We all came under crews.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? When I got out the house, I was under the big bros. And when crack hit, you know, the tree that I was under happened to be directly from Fritz. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so through Ace and the rest of them, that's the line I come from under.
You say Ace, right? Now I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. I know I want to say she's not his wife no more. I know his baby mother, Tanya.
Tanya?
Yeah. Tanya
Yeah.
knows me from a baby.
Yeah, Tanya, she all the way live.
Yeah, Tanya.
Shout out Tanya.
I interviewed her, Harlem Heron.
Yeah, she all the way live.
She's
Yeah,
like my aunt. Like she's really family to me.
Okay.
yeah,
I got her number.
she the
Call her
peoples.
right now. It's like, you know, what's up?
Yeah, she the peoples.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell her you with me, she gonna be like,
Yeah,
salute.
I'm
Salute,
sitting
right.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
She the peoples.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
And so that's what it was for me. I mean, we came up under the guys that were older than us, and you know the time was right for them.
Right.
And you know how the crack ever turned out. It was crazy. Like we could get deeper into that, but and my thing was I was always militant minded. So like I said, Fritz had called the order for everybody to not get fly. Because at one point when crack hit, everybody was getting fly. And I'm saying it was thousands and thousands of dollars flowing every day in the streets. So everybody wanted to do something with their money. Being ignorant on financial matters, dudes were just buying materialistic stuff. So the order came down from Ace, from the big homie, like, yo, I mean, it's unnecessary. Ain't no need to do that. And so we was told that. Right. And that was cool with me because I never was a flashy person. Like as a young kid, I followed the lead. I mean, I had my whole wall full of sneaker boxes and all that silly shit that everybody do. But then it was like, I was just doing it to do it. It had nothing to do with my money. But for the most part, I was giving it away to all my peoples. You know what I'm saying? Like I always had the mindset of looking out for the peoples. You know what I mean? So looking at the older dudes, taking heed of what they say, but my mindset, like I said, was of a militant type. It wasn't the Harlem hustler that was a playboy. I wasn't chasing the girls. I wasn't trying to get fly. I was all about my team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So we all know what comes with the casualty of selling drugs and stuff like that. When you sell drugs, right, I was in that life too at one point, right? Does the violence necessarily come? Or did you have to like get to a point where you had to be violent because you guys were getting money? You understand crews want to try other crews. Was that happening back then?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Where did that take you?
It took me on a lifelong trip. Well, I ain't
that.
even gonna say a trip. Well, it was a trip to a degree because I traveled the state, you know what I mean? But yeah, it set me down, you know what I mean? But to answer your question, the business begets the violence. The violence is inevitable.
Right.
Right? And that applies to every industry. Let's not get it confused.
Right.
Inside legal business, in the corporate world is violence.
Right.
The violence might be paper oriented, but it's attacks on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's disrespect. It's slights. It's sabotage. You know what I mean? All of that is happening.
Right.
You know, you walk inside a room and you thinking you having a good deal, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be a little negotiation. It's going to be, you know, and next thing you know, you feel like you're getting beat up. They attacking you. And you walk out with your tail in your ass. You like, yo, they violated me. You know what I mean? They send the wolves out. They send their lawyers. Oh, he slipped right there. We taking that. That's everyday life. Wherever's money, it's power.
Right.
And power does what? It hungers for more. You know what I mean? The more power, the power you get, you want more power. You know what I'm saying? And once money becomes the tool, you use the money to try to get power. People who want power, they coming for that money so they can become powerful. You know what I mean? And so the violence is going to come. It's inevitable. It's just, can it be controlled? In the business world, nobody going to blows. They control it. They keep it on paper.
That's that money, power, respect.
Right. You know what I mean? Politics the same way. They keep it composed. Some third world countries, you see, they fight on the Congress floor.
Right.
Because they don't keep it composed.
Right.
But if you keep it composed, you play within the parameters of what we're doing, then, you know, you can minimize the violence. You could keep it in a frame, a parameter where it's kind of acceptable. And this is what didn't happen.
Okay.
And why is because of lack of leadership. But like you were saying, we'll get into that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, for my part personally, I was leading up to your question, which was, I wasn't the playboy.
Right.
You know, I was the gangster.
The muscle.
Right. And so when things was going the way I felt that they shouldn't go, I was the one on the front line. I was the one putting myself out there. Not because nobody told me to do it, but because that's the type of mentality that I had. That was my personality.
Right.
I'm stepping to the plate. And because people saw that, my guys saw that was alongside me or quote unquote underneath me, they was willing to step up. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew I'm gonna put myself out there because this is what it takes. And so if you gonna rock out, this is what it takes. And so they was willing to come along. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we built our brotherhood. And that's how we built our respect. You know what I mean? It was some fear involved, but it was more so, like I said, it was a respect factor because that's how I move with principles.
Right.
I wasn't bullying. It was no bullying for us when we grew up. People played their position. If you was a basketball player in the hood, and the D boys came through, the dope boys came through, the thugs came through, the gangsters came through, nobody bothered you. You know what I'm saying? They didn't say, oh, cool ass Trev, he just a cool dude, he a lame, let's go fucking herb him. Nobody did that. If you did that, you wasn't a real G. And then the real G's was gonna put the pressure on you for that.
For that, okay.
And that's how we was moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you was a pretty boy, he fuck with the chicks, you was cool. You didn't have to worry.
Right.
And that's how it was, you know, early on. Right. And it just got out of control. But for me, that's what happened with me. I started putting myself out there more and more, and then it got more nasty. You know, I'm sure everybody know the story of Rich Porter.
Right.
You know, and how that event made Harlem like open up to the idea like, yo, it's really getting crazy out here.
Right.
When that happened, it was like that was the watershed moment for everybody to like, yo, it's out of control.
Because I know when
it's the same. It's basically the same situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's basically the same situation because all that took place. Rich died for the most part. I don't profess to be, you know, an expert in their business. You know what I'm saying? But from what you gather,
yeah, what's out there,
from what I know. On a personal level and what's out there, what the players themselves said, Rich got killed because it was an opportunity for this guy to kill him based on the fact that he was trying to bust a move for his brother. You know what I mean? So by him presenting himself to Poe, like, yo, I got to bust this move, I got this work, boom, boom, shit happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I say that it was all together.
Right.
And I mean, those two isolated incidents, but it is, you know what I mean, it came together like that. And I mean, that possibly wouldn't have happened if Darnell wouldn't have got caught up, you know what I'm saying, and Rich had to put himself out there in that type of situation. Without a question.
Definitely. So
doubt.
all of that leading up to, did that take you on a trip to the penitentiary?
Sure. So the thing is, me being the guy that I was with my team,
Right.
and we under the